You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Let's talk about getting back what was stolen. This story out of California. Unbelievable. Nearly 100 years ago, this very valuable piece of land was taken from black people. Manhattan Beach, California. Now, that land is going to be returned to the heirs of the family. A fascinating story. My man, Stephen Bradford, he has been leading this effort, California State Senator. He introduced this particular bill that deals with this. And again, it's called Bruce's Beach. And it's being returned. So Representative Bradford, first of all, give us the history behind this beach, the family that owned it. Because it's amazing that they're actually giving it back.
Yes, thank you, Roland, for this invitation. And yes, Bruce's Beach is a unique story, but it's not separate. I'm pretty sure it's hundreds, if not thousands, of stories similar to what the Bruces went through. But Willa and Charles Bruce acquired this property in 1912, and they created the first West Coast resort for African Americans, adhering to those separate but equal laws. And they built a African American beach resort, bath house, dance hall, restaurant, you name it, lodging for African Americans. And shortly after they built this out, other African American families also moved to Manhattan Beach and started acquiring property around the resort. Shortly thereafter, they started being harassed by the Klan, and in 1924, when the Klan couldn't run the Bruces and other African American families off the beach, the city took the property back, or took it by eminent domain for sale under the guise of building a public park, understanding that that public park never came to fruition until about 35 years after the fact. And the only reason they did it then, because the city was fearful of a lawsuit. And the city then deeded the property to the state of California. And in 1995, the state of California deeded it to the county of Los Angeles, who's in possession of the property right now. So it is our efforts through SB 796 to allow the county now, since we put deed restrictions on how the property could be disposed and used, to now remove that in order for the county now to return this property back to the heirs. These folks would have been multimillionaires. They paid a little over $1,200 for this property in 1912. Today, it has a very conservatively assessed value of $75 million.
Wow.
And yes. $75 million. So imagine the generational wealth that this family would have had today. And surprisingly, there are still people in Manhattan Beach, be it the council, who didn't even want to acknowledge or apologize for this injustice. They issued a statement of acknowledgement last week at a council meeting, but far from a full-throated apology and recognition of how this family was treated. And again, they used the law to steal this property because it clearly states if you take property by eminent domain, you have to first pay one fair market value, but you have to use it within a certain time frame of what the property was acquired for. And that never happened until 35 years after the fact. So we're excited about where we are today. I think it shows what reparations can look like. As I stated, this is not the only example in California, but this is one where this property is pretty much still in the same condition that it is as when the cities took it back and raised the resort and removed everything from there. The only thing standing there today is a county lifeguard facility.
And the key here is that there are descendants of Willa and Charles Bruce alive right now.
They have a great-great-great-grandson in New York, Anthony Bruce, who's the last direct descendant, but they're also Chief Yellow Feather, who's a descendant of the family. Yes, there are family members who are now, and they will become be in control of the property once we do what we need to do here in the legislature and the county does. Yes, so there are direct descendants of the Bruce's family.
Questions from our panel. I'll start with Scott.
Yeah, just excellent work, if I may. And, I own a home in one of the last 3 Black beach towns in the country, it being Highland Beach, which was founded by Frederick Douglass and or his brother. Senator, I don't know whether you are aware of that story here on the Chesapeake in near Annapolis. It's a municipality, one of 2 in Anne Arundel County. And so this story warms my heart because while Highland Beach and its companion beach still remain majority Black, obviously it is not all Black, and these Black beach towns need to be preserved. Here the story is that they're getting the property back, and I hope they will have some preservation interest with the city and others to honor that prior Black ownership and those prior Black entrepreneurs. So I stand up. If I had a drink, I certainly toast you and your colleagues and the hard-fought efforts, because this is heavy lifting stuff. I'm a lawyer. It's heavy lifting stuff, convincing people to do the right thing decades later. So God bless you and keep up the fight. And I'm sure with the exposure, there are a lot of people who are going to be visiting that area, whether they own a piece of it or not. So God bless you.
Thank you. But let's be clear, the city of Manhattan Beach is not in cooperation with this. This is the county. So we have to recognize Supervisor Janice Hahn and Supervisor Holly Mitchell for leading this effort, because the city still has stuck their heels in the sand. Truly don't want to recognize what's happened.
Keep fighting. Keep fighting.
Monique?
We will. We will. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm just thankful for the fight, because just juxtaposing it to what our host just finished talking about how, in the minds of many people in the majority in this country, we were never meant to stay. We were never meant to own. They didn't want us living in the same places as them. And to this day, that's been passed down. The racism is now in the genetic code. So I think that situations like this are so important for our own people, so that they understand that is not all of our history, that we were owners and still are. And that when there is prime property like this that we once owned and then was stolen from us, for something like that to be restored and for the story to be woven in and passed down is critically important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Robert Patillo.
Almost 100 years later.
Yep. Robert Patillo.
How do we replicate this effort around the country? Because right now, around the country, there are Black communities that are sitting under interstate highways that were built in the 1950s. There's hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland that was stolen from Black Americans and transferred either to the government or to white owners from the 1870s until the 1930s and 1940s. If you go down to central Georgia, halfway between Harris County and Bibb County, you can find a little town called Patillo, Georgia, which I believe my family is is heir to. But how exactly do we work on building this around the country so that more Black people can have access to the generational wealth as is needed in order to help bridge that racial wealth gap?
I hope this serves as an example of what can be done when you have willing elected officials who are willing to first acknowledge what happened. And again, we credit the county for acknowledging it because they're in the control of it. And then the state for what role we played, and now making sure we remove all those restrictions that were placed on this property in return. And I think, again, it's going to be an example of what we can do. We also formed the first in the country, a Reparations Task Force. I've been appointed by the Senate President Pro Tem to serve on that. We will convene our first meeting in June, and we're going to be looking at a variety of ways and other examples of situations like this where we can show the rest of the country what reparations look like and what we can do if we're really committed to first recognizing those wrongs and bringing forth some type of restitution and some type of atonement and in correction to that, and trying to make some of these families whole. We'll never probably have the ideal situation like we have right now with Bruce's Beach, but as you stated, it's many more examples across this country that can truly follow this model.
All right, then. Senator Bradford, man, great job. And I'm sure the Bruce family is appreciative. And keep us up to date. If there are any roadblocks, let us know who we need to call out.
Thank you for Roland for always being a great voice for the African American community and continue to speak truth to power. We love you, brother.
Well, I'm always ready to jack some folk up. So just let a brother know. And I got both my COVID shots. So I'm going to be out in California soon to take some of your money on a golf course.
Oh, I'm waiting on that. You've been talking a whole lot of noise. I'm waiting on it. Bring it. Bring it.
Okay. All right. Don't write some. All right. Look. I'll let you know. I take Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, Square. I got my own swipe. So I'm just letting you know. So if you try to say you didn't make it to the ATM machine, I got other options.
It'll be cash and carry right in the pocket. You don't even have to worry about it.
Okay, that's cool. But I'm just saying your pocket's going to be a little lighter when I'm done with you.
Okay,
all right.
Whatever.
All right.
Name your poison. And I'll pick the course. You name it, I'll find it.
Hey, it don't matter. Hey, my sticks work on any course you pick. All right, man. I appreciate it.
Good seeing you, man.
Likewise. Take care.
All right, folks. Back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it. Please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.